What if I told you the most powerful way to win in life is not to fight harder, but to refuse to play by their rules? Friedrich Nietzsche didn't just challenge the world. He stepped outside of it. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. He wrote, "Most men today are trapped in invisible games, seeking approval, chasing trends, proving themselves to people who don't even know who they are." But Nietzsche offered another path, a dangerous path, the path of the one who steps out of the arena entirely and watches everyone else exhaust themselves chasing illusions. This is the method. Stop reacting, stop defending, stop proving. Instead, become so complete within yourself that the game bends around your presence. The world wants you to beg for validation. Women want you to chase. Society wants you to obey. But when you become the man who walks away from all of it, not out of weakness, but from sheer clarity, they fear you, respect you, and follow you. Right now, you have two options. Keep playing a rigged game or become the player who doesn't need to touch the board to win. So if you're ready to step outside the cycle, like this video, subscribe to master your own mind, and comment below, "I walk alone and I win." Number 1. Think silence is weakness. Forget it. You're completely wrong. If you think silence is a sign of defeat, fear, or submission, forget it. You're wrong. Silence, when used strategically, is not weakness. It's a weapon. It's not retreat. It's domination without movement. This message isn't for those who still believe that power comes from shouting louder or explaining more. This is for the ones who've been overlooked, underestimated, or manipulated, and are ready to flip the script. If you're the type who's done performing, done over-explaining, done trying to be understood, then this is for you. You are the silent storm. You are the one learning to control the room without ever raising your voice. You don't need applause. You need clarity. You need presence. And silence is how you build it. Nietzsche didn't believe strength lay in reaction. He believed in Übermensch, the one who rises above herd morality, above the childish need to be validated, the one who doesn't respond to every insult because he doesn't need to. The moment you realize that explaining yourself is surrender, you stop. The moment you see that arguing is a waste of your energy, you retreat, not out of fear, but to take higher ground. Because here's what most people don't understand. Silence isn't absence. It's strategy. It's pressure. It's power. It destabilizes your opponent. It forces them to deal with their own noise, while they scramble to fill the gap. To win the argument, to provoke a reaction, you become the mirror, and mirrors terrify people who don't know themselves. This is not for the emotionally weak. Strategic silence is for those with enough self-command to resist the bait. It's for warriors of the mind, the disciplined few who understand that stillness is not submission. It's signal control. It's battlefield positioning. As Sun Tzu said, the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Silence is that art. So today, you'll stop speaking to be heard. You'll stop defending yourself to be understood. You'll begin to master the use of silence as a tool of presence, power, and psychological leverage. You'll no longer be predictable. You'll become dangerous in the best way, because true power doesn't speak, it radiates. Now, comment below. I speak with presence. I dominate with silence. Number 2. Arguing is weakness. Real power doesn't need to prove anything. If you think that arguing is strength, if you believe that raising your voice or flooding someone with facts makes you powerful, forget it. You've misunderstood the entire game. Needing to prove your worth is the first sign you've already surrendered it. This part is for the ones tired of being baited, for those who feel the fire to defend themselves boiling under their skin, but are now learning the iron discipline it takes to say nothing. If you're done being emotionally hijacked by every challenge or insult, then listen carefully. Your silence will speak louder than your loudest defense ever could. Nietzsche saw this clearly. He argued that the compulsion to prove or justify oneself comes from a fragile ego, a wounded sense of self desperately seeking external validation. In his critique of herd morality, Nietzsche warns of a society that conditions people to live for approval, not for truth. Arguing, in most cases, isn't a pursuit of clarity. It's a performance, a way of securing status, a contest of egos. But here's the deeper problem. Every time you engage in that performance, you give away your power. You step into someone else's arena. You fight by their rules. You validate their provocation with your attention. If worse, you begin to need their approval just to feel whole again. A Stoic wouldn't fall into this trap. The Stoic understands that control begins with what you allow to disturb your peace. They don't fight battles that don't matter. They don't chase people who can't see their worth. Why? Because true power is internal. It's silent. It doesn't need an audience to exist. Think of this like a blade. A sharp sword doesn't prove its sharpness by swinging wildly. It sits calmly in its sheath, respected because of its restraint. That's your new posture. You don't argue to be right. You act with such precision and presence that truth becomes self-evident. And when it comes to love or relationships, this discipline becomes even more crucial. When someone questions your worth, tests your boundaries, or tries to provoke emotion, your silence becomes your sword. Not silence from fear, but silence from mastery. You love from strength. You love with boundaries. You don't explain your value. You embody it. Let others speak recklessly. Let them show their hand. You keep your position. You maintain your energy, because the more they try to pull you into noise, the more your silence will haunt them. Now, comment below. I don't argue for respect. I embody it. Number 3. The silence of the Übermensch. The presence that dominates without a word. If you think silence is passive, if you believe it's a sign of surrender, forget it. You're seeing through the lens of the herd, not the mind of the master. Silence, in its highest form, isn't absence, it's presence. And when it belongs to the right person, it's devastating. This isn't for those who need to be heard to feel important. This is for those becoming Übermensch, the one who rises above ordinary morality, who no longer begs to be understood. Nietzsche's Übermensch doesn't explain. He doesn't react. He observes. He radiates. His silence is not a void. It's a gravitational field. It pulls others into awareness. It breaks their rhythm. It reveals their weakness. When you stay silent under provocation, you strip others of the script they depend on. They talk more. They over-explain. They reveal their insecurities. Your refusal to engage becomes a mirror, one that forces them to face the parts of themselves they'd rather keep hidden. And that's why silence is terrifying, not because it hides weakness, but because it reveals theirs. Silence in this form is strategy. It's a psychological weapon. While others lash out in emotional chaos, you sit like a mountain, calm, collected, immutable. You don't need to dominate the conversation. You become the atmosphere. This is the Stoic ideal. 2. True power isn't found in being loud. It's found in being centered. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." But deeper than that, a Stoic listens not just to others, but to the space between the noise. They read patterns. They absorb truth. They see what others miss because they don't rush to respond. In relationships, this is a magnetic force. When you master silence, not as avoidance, but as conscious posture, you stop being predictable. Your partner starts leaning in. They want to understand you. They start revealing themselves more because your quiet strength demands it. You are no longer reacting to the world. You are shaping it through presence. So stop viewing silence as absence. It is power condensed. It is control refined. And the one who masters it doesn't need to win arguments. They win respect the moment they walk into the room. Now, write in the comments, my silence is not absence, it's presence. Number 4, turn silence into a blade, how to use it as a strategic weapon. If you think silence is simply not speaking, if you think it's passive, neutral, or non-confrontational, forget it. You're wrong. Silence, when sharpened, becomes a weapon more precise than any word, more destructive than any scream, but only if you know how to use it. This part is for the disciplined ones, the emotional strategists, the quiet observers who are tired of being misunderstood, underestimated, or manipulated. You're not here to defend. You're here to dominate calmly, cleanly, completely. Strategic silence follows a plan. It isn't just stillness, it's movement withheld, and that makes it lethal. Step 1. Resist the urge to react. When someone criticizes you, provokes you, or pushes your emotional buttons, silence denies them the control they crave. You don't respond, not because you don't have an answer, but because your energy is too valuable. That alone flips the dynamic. They expected a game. You handed them a void. Step 2. Observe like a predator. In silence, you gather more than words ever could. You watch for cracks, emotional instability, neediness, control addiction. The longer you stay quiet, the more they reveal. The talkative expose themselves, the manipulative panic, and in their unraveling, your strength becomes obvious. Step 3. Extend the tension. Most people can't sit with silence. It forces them inward. It exposes their discomfort. So you make space. You stretch the silence until they start to fill it with their own insecurity. You no longer need to challenge them. They're unraveling themselves. Step 4. Speak only when it ends things. When you finally speak, let it be deliberate. A single sentence. One truth. Cold, clear, surgical. Let your voice be the blade that ends the chaos, not adds to it. Because when your silence has weight, your words carry consequence. Nietzsche would say, this is the posture of the Übermensch. Not reaction, but authorship. Not explanation, but command. You don't beg to be seen. You control the atmosphere. You don't seek validation. You make others question their footing just by being still. And the stoic within you, he sees this as emotional courage. To stay quiet when the world screams for reaction. To maintain command when the ego begs to fight. To choose restraint over release. This is strength. This is art. This is war by other means. In love, this changes everything. You stop being predictable. Your silence becomes seductive, unnerving, powerful. You are no longer pulled into games. You become the one who sets the tone, defines the tempo, and ends the noise. So sharpen your silence. Use it with precision. Let it speak for you when the words are no longer worth your breath. Now, comment below. My silence is not passive. It's tactical. Number 5. Silence is not submission. It's time to break the slave morality. If you still believe that staying silent keeps the peace, if you think avoiding confrontation makes you wise or mature, forget it. You've been fed a lie. That isn't peace. It's passivity disguised as virtue. And Nietzsche had a name for it: slave morality. This message isn't for those who confuse niceness with nobility. It's for the ones who've grown tired of being walked over, talked down to, or taken for granted because they kept quiet. If you've ever held your tongue while someone disrespected your boundaries, misunderstood your silence, or mistook your patience for weakness, then you already know silence without self-respect is just invisible surrender. Nietzsche warned us. Society teaches us to suppress power, to be agreeable, to smile and nod while others impose. This is how the weak moralize strength. They call it arrogance, pride, aggression, and in doing so, they control those who were born to be strong. They condition you to stay silent not from mastery, but from fear of judgment. But real silence, strategic silence, is not compliance. It's calculation. It comes from power, not from the need to avoid discomfort. When you fall silent to maintain your center, you are the master. But when you fall silent to avoid being disliked, you become a tool, soft, shapeless, and easy to use. Stoicism calls this out too. True Stoic silence is built on clarity and choice. The Stoic doesn't react, not because they're afraid, but because they know their values. Their silence is chosen, but the silence of the unawakened. That's fear masquerading as control. In relationships, this mistake is fatal. If you stay silent when disrespected, people don't grow to appreciate your gentleness. They grow to exploit it. The more space you give, the more they take. The less you push back, the more they push forward. You are not being noble. You are being erased. You were not born to be someone's emotional safety net. You were not made to be the person others dump their chaos on without consequence. Silence must serve you, not just maintain their comfort. So break the old morality. Abandon the belief that silence always means peace. Sometimes it means imprisonment. Let your silence come from vision, not fear, from inner strength, not outer obedience, from sovereign choice, not programmed guilt. You're not here to be agreeable. You're here to be authentic. And sometimes, authenticity sounds like nothing because you've chosen not to waste your voice on those who haven't earned it. Now, comment below. I am not silent to be liked. I am silent because I know who I am. Number 6. The Übermensch. Silence presence that commands without sound. If you still think silence is the absence of voice, forget it. Silence, when forged in the fire of self-mastery, is not emptiness. It's gravity. It doesn't retreat from the world. It bends the world around it. This is the silence of the Übermensch. Nietzsche's Übermensch is not just a person. He is a force, an evolved being who no longer reacts to the noise of the world, but reshapes it through sheer presence. His silence is not passive. It's not a delay. It's a declaration, one that says, I have nothing to prove. I am already complete. This part is for those no longer interested in performing. You're not here to entertain, argue, or impress. You're here to embody what others still chase, inner authority. And when you do, your silence begins to echo. It enters a room before you speak. It pulls attention without trying. It holds space so intensely that others feel exposed without you lifting a finger. Because the one who commands without speaking is the one who has nothing to lose, the one who does not plead for approval, who does not chase closure, who does not fear being misunderstood. That's the Übermensch, and that can be you. The Stoic shares this truth. Presence is more powerful than persuasion. Marcus Aurelius never needed to shout to lead. Epictetus didn't rely on validation to teach. Why? Because they knew who they were. They knew that when your mind is ordered, the world cannot disorder you. When your emotions are anchored, manipulation cannot move you. In love, this changes everything. You no longer fall for noise. You no longer respond to games. You become the calm eye in the storm of modern chaos. And in that silence, people don't feel abandoned. They feel awakened, because your presence reflects their noise, and their noise cannot touch your stillness. The silence of the Übermensch is not stillness. It's the steady hum of complete self-possession. It's the calm of a warrior who has already conquered the need to be right. It's the pause of someone who has already chosen his own value and doesn't negotiate it anymore. So don't break your silence to be seen. Let your silence be the thing they can't look away from. Don't speak to fill space. Become the space that makes noise irrelevant. You are not quiet. You are complete. And that's what shakes the world. Now, comment below. I don't raise my voice. I raise my presence. Number 7. Choose the silence that demands respect, not the one that begs for peace. If you still believe all silence is equal, forget it. Some silence is born from fear, some from guilt, but the silence that changes everything, that's the silence rooted in power, in clarity, in total self-possession. This final message is not for those still hiding behind passivity, hoping silence will make conflict disappear. It's for those ready to turn silence into a throne, not a cage. If you're done living on edge, torn between the need to please and the hunger to be free, then listen carefully. Your silence must rise from conviction, not retreat. Nietzsche wasn't praising stillness for its own sake. He was exposing the source of it. Silence can be the tool of slaves, trained to avoid upsetting others, to stay invisible, to appease, or it can be the sword of a master, the Übermensch, whose silence doesn't ask for anything, but commands everything. That's your choice. Either you stay quiet to keep the peace, or you stay quiet to declare your sovereignty. One makes you smaller, the other makes you undeniable. And the Stoic confirms this. True inner peace is not the absence of conflict. It's the strength to face the world without being ruled by it. You don't stay silent to be passive. You stay silent because you choose where your energy flows. You no longer react. You respond with intention, or not at all. This kind of silence isn't calm. It's concentrated power. It places boundaries without explanation. It makes people second-guess their behavior. It builds an aura of mystery and dignity. And most importantly, it draws respect from those who recognize presence, not noise, as the real currency of influence. In love, it becomes your compass. You don't need to convince anyone to treat you well. You don't need to defend your worth. You simply be. And let your absence say what your words no longer need to. You become a standard, not an option. Because the person who can remain quiet in the face of disrespect is not weak. They are choosing to protect their crown, not wrestle in the dirt. So this is your moment. Choose the silence of self-respect. Choose the posture that holds weight without explanation. Choose the quiet that makes people feel your power, not question your presence. Your silence isn't a space between words. It's a statement of who you've become. Now, write in the comments. I choose the silence that demands respect. You came here wondering how to win. You leave knowing you don't have to play at all. The true master isn't the one who beats everyone. It's the one who no longer competes, who defines his own rules, who turns inward, sharpens his will, and lets his silence do the talking. Like Nietzsche, you now understand. The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly. You don't need to chase, to explain, to convince. You simply become and let the world adjust. So if this unlocked something inside you, like this message, subscribe to keep building a life beyond their expectations, and comment below, I bend reality by walking away. Stay silent, stay sovereign, win without needing the crown.